What does the scouter say about his power level?
It's over 9,000!
What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right!
Play Retro.
Hey guys, welcome back to Play Retro. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Javi, and today we're going to be showing some love to this beautiful device in front of me. This is the R36S, a very affordable and accessible retro handheld. And I'm going to show you guys how to get all set up. We're going to be flashing ArkOS to brand new branded SD cards. You'll be able to use a 1 card or 2 card setup, whatever you like, and get this thing loaded up with all your favorite games. I'm even going to show you how to change your boot logo. After that, I'm even going to show you how to scrape your own Boxart and add it to this thing manually, because as you already probably know, this thing does not have Wi-Fi. So there's workarounds to the Wi-Fi, but I'm just going to show you how to add Boxart manually. And then finally, we're going to add a little bit of background music to this thing and really set the mood for when we're browsing our beautiful games list. So I actually want to show you what that's going to look like and what you can expect from this tutorial. Let's get this thing turned on. That is our beautiful little boot logo. This doesn't have to be the boot logo you use. You know, that's like my signature little trademark, put faces on my handhelds, but you don't have to do that. This boot logo can be whatever you like. So we get into ArkOS. You can hear the beautiful, it boots right into our favorites games list. As you can see, I only have 3 games here favorited. And I'm currently using the Switch theme. So I didn't load this thing up with like 1,000 games. I just have like a good amount here and there. This one has like 30. And you can see what that looks like. So some systems are gonna look a lot better, like NES looks amazing. I love this theme. Check out Game Boy. Oh, this one's missing. That's okay. So yeah, that's what you can basically expect from this tutorial. So let's not waste any more time, all right? Let's get this thing shut down. And now, the very first thing I want you guys to do, now this is an optional thing, but first, the very first thing I want you to do is to get rid of this disgusting sticker back here. Now, I've already gone ahead and done that, but look, when you get rid of that sticker, it reveals a beautiful clear window to the CPU of this handheld. You can see right here it says Rock Chip Arcade 3326. It's like the nicest thing, and it's gonna change how you really feel about this device. I'm gonna have this ugly, inaccurate sticker that's misspelled. Just get rid of it, clean up the glue, and look at this, like look at this beautiful window into your handheld. I've also gone ahead and put some stickers on the battery for fun. We got Mikey and Donatello here. Again, this is optional, but it looks so good. I highly recommend you guys do this. So in front of me is basically everything you're going to need for this tutorial. You'll need 1 micro SD card reader. You'll also need both of your stock SD cards. Okay, you can see here I have both my stock SD cards, my 32 gigabyte for my operating system and my 64 gigabyte for my games. Now again, the games one is optional because you can use your own games list. If you already have curated ROMs list on your PC, you don't need the games card, but you will still need the operating system cards because there's a few files we need to take from this card. Okay, so you go ahead and set these aside. And then you will need your replacements. So this can be basically whatever you want. You can do a 1 card setup if you really want to, but I'm going to show you how to do both. You can do whatever you want. And as I always say, my 2 recommended brands, if you guys are wondering, always use SanDisk and Samsung, and I prefer Samsung over SanDisk. But you know, if you can get those, get those brands. So here we have a 32 gigabyte and a 64 gigabyte. This is going to be for your OS and this is for your games. But you can still do a single card setup if you want. I highly recommend you do a minimum of 64 gigabytes. And I do want to show you what's in my handheld as of right now, because I have such a small setup going. I just have a single 32 gigabyte in here because I'm not really running that many games. So you can realistically do this with 32 gigabyte if you really want to, but it's all up to you guys. So yeah guys, let's get right to it. Let's get on the computer.
Okay guys, so welcome to my computer. So let's start with some preparation real quick. So as I mentioned before, you're going to need your micro SD card reader. You're going to need your stock SD cards because we do need some files off of it. I will show you what that looks like right over here. You also need, if you're doing a single card setup, you will need a 32 gigabyte or higher branded SD card. For a 2-card setup, you're going to need 2 cards, obviously. One 32 gigabyte. You can get away with a 16 gigabyte, but those are becoming harder to find every day. And then another either 64 or higher branded SD card. And as always, the 2 brands I always recommend are Samsung and SanDisk, with a preference for Samsung. Samsung makes the best SD cards of any brand. And then finally, we're going to need a few programs. I always use the same 3. We're going to be using Minitool, Partition Wizard, Rufus, and 7-Zip. As always, all these things will be linked in the description for your convenience. As well as this, we will also need the ArkOS image. We'll be using this one. We actually use one for a different handheld, but that will work on this handheld. This is for the RG351MP. Okay, so we're gonna go get this real quick. But first, before we do anything, let's get started. Go ahead and go into your Minitool Partition Wizard, and then this right over here, this is what your thing's gonna look like. Your SD card might look like. Now, if you're doing a single card setup, there's a good chance that your SD card is not formatted to FAT32. So let's go ahead and just delete this, and then I want you to hit apply, then hit yes, press OK, and then one more time I want you to just right click and then click create, and then right here where it says file system, I want you to navigate down to FAT32, and then assign a different drive letter. This is always defaulted to D. I rather change it, just change it to anything else, maybe whatever your name starts with. I'm gonna go for J for Javi, and then press OK, and then press apply and yes again. Now give this a second to do its thing. Okay, and that's step 1. You just want to format your SD card to FAT32. Now go ahead and close out of Minitool. And now I want you to navigate to this page right here. This is a GitHub, the ArkOS GitHub page. So basically, I want you to scroll all the way down till you see RG351MP. And go ahead and you can grab either the Google Drive or Mega. I always grab the Mega though, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab that one more time. If you're grabbing the Mega, just click save right here, and this will go ahead and start downloading. So sometimes you'll get this glitch where it says like 0 bytes per second. I think you want to ignore that and just click on the folder. Once you open it, it's going to be here. So as you can see, I've downloaded this a few times already. This is still a compressed file. You will have to extract it. So go ahead, and now you'll be using 7-Zip. Right click, click 7-Zip, and then you can hit extract here. Or you can go to extract files and then put it to wherever you want. I'm just going to go ahead and click on extract it here though. Now you're going to give this a second to extract the image. Okay, so here's our image, and what I like to do is just click and hold and drag it to my desktop so it's easy to find. Now I already have 2 copies here, so these are exactly the same, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to just throw one in the recycling bin for now. Okay, and now we can go ahead and start Rufus. So now that you have Rufus open, go ahead and you should see your SD card labeled, whatever you labeled it, by the letter. Make sure you're on the correct one. Obviously, you don't want to lose data, especially if you have a bunch of stuff connected to your PC. Please be careful. Make sure you're on the right thing. And the best practice is just connect one SD card at a time. If you have to disconnect everything else just to be sure, go ahead and do that. And then go ahead and click select right over here. You're going to navigate over to your desktop and locate, or wherever you put the image file. Go ahead and click that ArkOS image, press open, And the only thing you have to do here is press start. It's going to give you a little warning, just press OK, and now give this some time to do its thing and flash ArkOS. Okay, so this thing's finally done. You can see right here it says this took me 3 minutes and 33 seconds. This may be faster for you if you have a faster SD card. In my case, it was 3 minutes and 33 seconds to flash this ArkOS. So go ahead and close out of Rufus. So now I want you to go into your boot partition, and there's a chance you will not see the other partition that's supposed to be here, which is your easy ROMs, which that can easily be fixed by going into your mini tool partition wizard. And then these easy ROMs right here, I want you to right click it and just change the letter. So by default it's always going to be D. Just change it to something else. I go for like G for games or something, then press apply, hit yes. Okay, then you can close out of this, and now you will see that easy ROMs is available. So I want you to go into your boot partition now, and we have to delete some files in here. Okay, and now I already have them right here, so you guys can see which ones we need to delete, and you guys can cross-reference them. I will put this in the description so you guys know which ones to take out. So the ones in here we have to take out are these boot. So we have to get rid of boot. We need this, and then these 4 right here. So boot, this one, this one, this one, and this one. We're going to delete all of those. But before we do that, first I want you to actually put in your other stock SD card, the one that's for your OS, this one right here. So go ahead and put that into your computer. Let's go ahead and eject this real quick. Unfortunately, this is a necessary step for this this device, and if you don't do this step, you will get a white screen that flashes. So just do this step. So here is my stock SD card. Go ahead and close out of this one, and right over here you just want to grab these necessary files. So I already have it here. Just grab the same ones basically. This is what they look like. I will put these in the description. So I want you to make a folder on your desktop. Call it whatever. I'm gonna call it files. Okay, and then I want you to click and drag this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So there's 5 files, but you can also take the boot logo if you really want to. In my opinion, this boot logo is absolutely hideous, so I don't want this boot logo. But I mean, if you like it, take it. ArkOS already has a boot logo that, in my opinion, is better, and you can use as a placeholder until you decide to change the boot logo to whatever you want. Okay, so go ahead and eject that stock SD card, and now would be a good time to back up all your games and your save files and your BIOS files off the stock SD card if you plan to use the stock SD card. In my case, I'm not going to be doing that. However, if you are, please do that now before you proceed to the next step. So now I'm going to proceed to the next step. Go ahead and put back your newly flashed SD card. Put it back in your PC. Close out of easy ROMs, and then in here now that we have our necessary files right over here, we're going to go ahead and delete the ones we need to delete. So we want to grab this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Go ahead and either you can, what I did is I backed it up into a folder right over here. However, if you don't want to do that, go ahead and don't do it, because this is not going to work for you anyway. So go ahead and delete these, permanently delete them, yes. And now those files you just backed up, you just moved from your stock SD card, go ahead and click and drag and copy it over into this boot partition, and it should look like this. And here's the boot logo I was talking about. This is what it looks like. So we can use this as a placeholder until we decide to make our own boot logo, which I will show you later in the video, so stay tuned for that. But that step is optional. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Okay, so let's go ahead and leave that alone. Close this, and now all we have to do is eject this SD card. Okay guys, so go ahead and insert that newly flashed SD card into your TF1 OS. Okay, so go ahead, and it goes this way. It's facing you. Okay, and now turn this on for the first time, and now let's see if it works. And then you see that ArkOS boot logo. Now give it a second to turn off.
Now your first boot, it may take a little bit longer. I'm just gonna go ahead and expand that ROMs partition, the easy ROMs partition. And just give it some time to do its thing. This shouldn't take too long. Okay, and you know it's done when you boot into this screen. So this is what it's going to look like the first time you first boot it up, and it's all done installing. So you will have a few games, a few PK08 games in here, which is nice. And it's going to have this nice NES box theme. Now you can keep this if you like it. So if you're doing a 2-card setup, right? This card right here, I want you to format this to FAT32. Go ahead and format this to FAT32. And then once you have it formatted to FAT32, go ahead and insert it into this slot on this side. The same way. I'm going to do that real quick.
Okay guys, so for the people doing a 2-card setup, I want you to go ahead and insert your second SD card into your computer. And now we're basically going to go ahead and format this so we can insert it into our console. So go ahead and go into Mini Tool Partition Wizard. Now I've already gone ahead and done that, but if you haven't done this, just go ahead and whatever partitions you have here, delete them. Press apply, press yes, press OK. And then once that's done, you'll have an unallocated space. Right click that space, press create. Make sure the file system is set to FAT32 and assign a different drive letter, maybe G for games or R for ROMs, whatever you want. And then just press OK. Then press apply and press yes one more time. And I'll give this a second to create our FAT32 formatted partition. Okay, and that's basically all you have to do for the second SD card. So now go ahead and exit out of this, and you can safely eject that SD card.
Okay guys, for the people doing a 2-card setup, after formatting the card, go ahead and insert it into your console on this side. Okay, and once it's inserted, I want you to go into your options, then go into advanced, the very first option, and now press up on the D-pad, and that'll bring you all the way to the bottom where you'll see this option says switch to SD2 for ROMs. Go ahead and click that. And just give this a second. And there you go. Now we're pretty much good to go, and we can now start loading this thing up with our games. And now eject. If you're on a single card setup, obviously eject this one. If you're doing a 2-card setup, eject this one. So for this demonstration, I'm actually gonna just do a single card setup just because it's gonna be easier for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch back to my SD card number 1 for my ROMs partition. So go ahead and eject whichever card you will be using for your games and your BIOS files. And let's get on the computer.
Okay guys, so you're now back on the computer. Go ahead and insert that SD card, whichever one is going to be holding your games, either your TF2 or your TF1 if you're on a single card setup, and put that on the computer. And now you can ignore this boot for now and just go into your easy ROMs. In here you're going to place all your game files. So for this example, I already have a little collection here. It's just 50 games of various systems. So we have 10 for Game Boy, 10 for GBA, 10 for Game Boy Color, a 10 for Genesis, and 10 for SNES. Okay, and we also have our BIOS files. So let's do our BIOS files first. You'll see a folder in here. If you scroll down, it will say BIOS. And this doesn't really matter if the case is not exactly the same. Just go ahead and copy that into your easy ROMs, and it'll go from your BIOS into the other folder named BIOS, even if they're different letters, like one's capital, one's not capital. It's fine. So now you'll see in my BIOS folder it is fully populated. So now let's go ahead and transfer all our games. So now you want to check basically how these systems are named. So in ArkOS, everything's named exactly the same as I have it here. So I can basically click and hold all these systems, and they'll go into the appropriate folders, which is really nice. So now you can see all of our game folders are fully populated. Of course, I'm doing a small batch just so this doesn't take forever, but if you have a lot of games, this is going to take a really long time. So just be patient. From here, you also want to transfer your save files. If you have any, maybe you're playing on the stock SD cards, or maybe you have save files from a previous system. Go ahead and grab those save files and put them in the appropriate folder. And now we're going to do some optional things. So if you do not care about a boot logo or Boxart or even background music, you can pretty much skip this part and you can safely eject the SD card and just be done, right? But if you want to do a few more extra steps, you can do this part as well. So let's start with the boot logo. To go into your boot partition, you'll see this file right here. This is the one we have now. This is ArkOS, right? But let's say this is not my style. I want something a little bit more cool. I've gone ahead and made a bunch of faces already. I've shown you this probably in another video. So I'm just going to use one of these for this example. Let's go with this one. This one's funny. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this to my desktop or copy it to my desktop so we can work on it. Okay. And you guys can create this as well. So if you see this one right here, these are the properties you're basically going to need. So the file needs to be named logo.bmp. It needs to be a BMP file. And then the dimensions needs to be 640 by 480 with a very important, the bit depth must be 24. So you're going to see here, if we go over here, this one's probably going to be wrong. First of all, it has a wrong name. But the bit depth is right and the dimensions are right. So I'm going to go ahead and rename it. Well, we can't do it in the same spot because this one's here too, so it's going to try to replace it. So we're going to just put a folder here and call this new boot logo and put this inside, and then now we can work on this no problem. Let's go ahead and rename it logo.bmp, and then this should be good to go and I can replace it. However, you're probably like, how do you even create this? So head over into canva.com. I'm going to leave a link for this in the description. Go ahead and click create a design, go to custom size right here, and then I want you to just enter 640 by 480 and just create a design. So in here I want you to just like whatever design you want, maybe pick a color, whatever works for you. Let's say like this, and then maybe add some elements, whatever you're into. Let's say I like this bird. Let's change the background to something that kind of matches. Maybe something like that, and maybe we can adjust the color. Let's say I like this, right? This design's cool. Okay. We're gonna name this logo. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and download it. PNG is fine. We're gonna convert it right now. So as soon as you have that file, go ahead and look at the file location, right click it. We're going to open with Paint, and now you're going to see it in here. Now the only reason we're opening it here is because we're going to be converting it into a BMP file. So go ahead and click File. We're going to go ahead and Save As, and you'll see here BMP picture. Click that, and then you'll see right here it'll convert it, and it'll change the bit depth as well. So this is fine, logo.bmp and the bitrate, and then save it to wherever whatever location you want. So in my case, I'm going to save it to my pictures. Go ahead and hit save. Press OK, and we should be good to go. So we can close out of this. Here it is. That is our new boot logo right there that we just created, and it's correct. So if we check the properties, it's named correctly. It's a BMP file. It's 640 by 480 with a bit depth of 24. Perfect. Now let's now that we've done that, now I'm going to show you how to replace it. Go ahead and exit out of this real quick. Go back to your boot partition. You'll see a file in here. You're basically just going to replace it with the one you want. So in my case, I'm going to go with this face because I really like this face. And let's go ahead and replace this file. So all I did was click and drag and then hit replace, and now we've replaced that file. It's going to look like this when we turn it on. So that's the boot logo, and now we can close out of this. And now we're going to be doing a little bit of scraping. So I want you to head over to screenscraper.net if you don't have Scraper already. Again, there will be a link in the description. Go ahead and click this button right here. It says download, and that'll bring you to here. Go ahead and get it for the system you have. In this case will be Windows. Click it, install it, and then I want you to head over to this website right here, screenscraper.fr, and register for the site. Go ahead and click right here in this button, and then I want you to just create a username and password for this website. Okay, once that is done, we're gonna head over into our screen scraper. I already have it set up, but I'm gonna redo it so you guys can do it together, so we can do it together. Let's go into the wizard. Okay, so here you would put your username and password, right? And then you want, after you click validate, you'll be able to click next, and then the next screen might take a while the first time. It's gonna like get all its resources and stuff, so just give it some time. And then right here, this doesn't really matter. I go with generic emulation. It really doesn't matter. And then it's gonna ask you, where are your games? So you want to click the correct ROM directory. In my case, I have it on my desktop, the one I want to use for this example. So let's go click here, and it found those 5 systems already. And then you can just click the default media and stuff. We're going to change that anyway, and then click next or finish. It's the same thing. Okay, perfect. So if you want, you can scrape directly into your SD card. I personally want to scrape into my PC first and then copy over those files, just because that way I have a backup if anything happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and basically we have to just set this thing up. Go ahead and click all systems. You're gonna go into games list and just click no backup update existing, and you can leave that alone. Metadata, you can leave this as is. Media, right here, this is really important. You want to take out the manual, and then right here, instead of 4-image mix, I like to do just image and then go to 2D Boxart. But this can be whatever you want, whatever you're into. The ROM folder, erase this right here. Go ahead and just put type out images right over here, and you can check this box right here that says clean output folder before generating new medias. Everything else you can leave the same. We're not actually going to change the size of the files. The full size image is going to work fine. Over in the miscellaneous tab, you can uncheck this. Use ROM regions first. Just uncheck that. That's fine. And yeah, you should be pretty much good to go from there. Go ahead and just press start and let this thing do its thing. It gives you a little warning. Just press OK. And now you'll see it found all those games. You'll see right here 1 of 50, and it's just going to scrape every single game we have in our library. So if you have thousands and thousands and thousands of games, this is going to take a really long time, especially if you have like a 3-image mix or 2-image mix or 4-image mix. That's going to scrape even more media, and it's going to take even longer. So this is why I recommend 2D Boxart, because it's just fast and it looks good, but you guys can do whatever you want. Okay, this thing's finally done. You heard the little jingle, so you can go ahead and press that check right now, and now you can close out a scraper. This thing's pretty much done. Now when you go into your ROMs, wherever you put it, you'll see an images folder here, and it'll have all your box art. So now all we have to do, if you did it onto the PC, you will have to drag it into the appropriate folder. If you already did it into the SD card, you should be fine. You don't have to do this step. However, I like to do things a little bit different. So we're going to go into our easy ROMs and just copy over those folders from the appropriate system. So this is GB to GB. Go ahead and copy that. Then GBA to GBA, and copy that in here. GBC to GBC. Go ahead and copy that there. Genesis to Genesis. Go ahead and copy that there. And then SNES to SNES. And I'll go ahead and copy that there. Alright, perfect. And now the very last thing we want to do is just add a little bit of background music. If you want to liven up the atmosphere of your games list, go ahead and you'll see a folder here. It's called BG Music. It stands for background music. And in here you can place any music you like. Let's see if I have some. I'm going to show you a website. Okay, so we're going to head over into this site right here. It's called like downloads.khinsider.com, and right over here you can pretty much download any soundtrack from any game you want. So for this example, let's go with Mario Kart Wii. We can listen to some music here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab like that. Sounds pretty good. Let's go ahead and download that. So you click the download button, you'll see these 3 dots and just click download. So I'm gonna grab a few tracks from here. Okay, download that. Okay, now you have 3 songs you can use for your background music, and just go ahead and grab those and throw them into your background music folder. Okay, and with that, you are basically done. So go ahead and safely eject this SD card. And let's put this in the system. Okay, so go ahead and put that back into your console. And now let's see if we did everything right. So now we should see a different boot logo. And there it is. Our beautiful little face. And now when you power on the system, it should greet you with some beautiful background music. Oh yeah. However, one issue you will have the second you turn it on is that there will not be any box art. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to fix that. Go ahead and press start. Then I want you to navigate to advanced settings. You're going to scroll down until you see this right here. This option by default will be off. It says search for local art, and just press and turn that on. Okay, now back out, and now you'll see all your games will have box art. And just like that, now your R36S is leveled up. And now, of course, you can always change your theme. Maybe NES box is not your style. I personally really like Switch. This theme is awesome in my opinion. I love how the games are just by themselves. But again, you guys can experiment with this. Okay, so once we're done with that, I do also want you to change one more thing. And this is an optional step. If you don't like stretched images, go ahead and go into any game. For example, we're going to use this one. And now you'll see that the Game Boy is like stretched. There's supposed to be black bars here. So go ahead into the RetroArch menu by pressing, holding select and X. And now you're going to go ahead and close content. And now in here, I want you to go into settings, go to video, go to scaling. And then right here, instead of aspect ratio 4:3, just set it to core provided. And then back out again. Back out one more time, then go down to configuration file and then save current configuration. And then you can just quit out of RetroArch. And now when you go into any game, it'll be the correct aspect ratio. So you'll see here, we have these black bars. And you can see here that will apply to Game Boy as well. So this will save across most systems. If you run into a system that it's not saved, just go ahead and do the same thing. So there you have it, guys. That is how you can level up your R36S. I showed you how to manually add box art because this thing does not have Wi-Fi. I showed you how to change your boot logo, how to add background music, get this thing loaded up with your favorite games. On a much better build of ArkOS. And yeah, hopefully you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comment section below if I was going a little bit too fast. I'm trying to shorten the video up a little bit so it doesn't, just take forever. But yeah, guys, have fun with your R36S. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. My name is Javi, and I'll see you in the next one.